is up, RotoGrinders? You got an hour and a half of myself and Bobby Gomes, at least for the first 2/3 of the show. NBA DFS conversation taking you straight up to lock. Why are we starting at 6 o'clock? Because, well, technically you're a minute or so late. My apologies, our apologies. And John, as he's saying in chat, I'm required to be on time for work, and we'll do better next time. How about that? We're going to refund your $0. We're doing it live now. 4-game slate, 4-gamer, kind of a baby slate. A lot of news, a lot of different ways to go. TNT doubleheader. TNT execs are bums, I imagine, because there's no LeBron, there's no Anthony Davis in the front half of the TNT doubleheader. On the back half, you got Joel Embiid, who's not playing basketball. I guess he really was playing kind of hurt and kind of injured. Yeah, maybe we should not have I don't know, called them out. A lot of people called them out on Twitter, myself included, for funsies, of ducking the Joker. He's going to be out for a bit. We'll see. And, of course, Tyrese Maxey's questionable, too. Tricky part with that is that game is, 2 hours after the third game, 7:30 Lakers Celtics, 7:30 Indianapolis and New York, and then 8 o'clock Cleveland, Memphis. Then we got 2 hours for Philadelphia and Utah, and Philadelphia is the stone worst team when it comes to reporting injuries. They actually got fined $75,000 for never putting Embiid on the injury report and then hooking him right as the game was tipping off about a week ago or so. Find them more. Find them more. Turns out they're in business with FanDuel and DraftKings. Keep finding them. Find them where it actually matters. $75,000 is nothing, but keep finding them. Bobby Gomes, are you with me? Do you want to keep? I mean, Philadelphia is the stone worst. So the biggest, nobody manipulates. I shouldn't say manipulates. They just don't put anything on the injury report. They don't acknowledge it. They don't feel like they have to do it. They're too good for it. So screw them. But I'm not bitter about Philadelphia, obviously. But,
you seem pretty bitter. I would say you're pretty bitter.
Well, I mean, these are your business partners. It's not hard. And, do you think the other team is in the locker room 3 minutes before the game starts? This is how we're going to stop Joel Embiid. And, they're gaming the system because, you wasted 3 minutes or the last hour on defending the guy that's not even going to play. Joke's on you. Ha-ha. Is it so hard to just say, hey, you know what? This guy, say this guy might not play. Say he's questionable. They say nothing. They don't give you anything. They're the worst.
No. I get it. And it was the worst situation, too, just because they were playing Denver that night. I did think Joel might have been injured, and all the Twitter rants that I was seeing were probably more for the day. And then we would find out later on that he was actually dealing with something. And I think that's kind of the outcome has been. So, yeah, I wish they would say he was questionable that day, but what are you going to do? We've been doing this for so long. I don't think it's kind of expected at this point, right? You get
maybe expectations should be higher with especially for your business partners. Maybe DraftKings should knock on the door. Maybe FanDuel should knock on the door and say, hey, you know what? You want to see what our customer service agents are, the tweets they're getting? They're getting. How is this guy not playing? Why is this guy not playing? I want a refund. It's not good business. Yeah. These are your business partners. But if you want,
I don't think it's good business either.
You can't go both ways.
If you're trying to, like Adam Silver, they're trying to embrace gambling, you should be more willing to do the things that protect the bettors, I guess. But gambling has a negative connotation, and people really don't care about the gamblers. I think as we've seen in the past.
Turns out.
That's what it is. It turns out they don't really care too much.
I saw there was some positive momentum apparently down there in Georgia potentially for gambling, and that's one of those states that not yet has ratified. So if you're in Georgia, maybe it'll be happening at some point. Who knows? Could be Travis in chat says DK should lock the games at tip off, not lock. And that's the other problem is there's no official start time for basketball games. They could start at, it's 6 o'clock, but it'd be 6:10, 6:07, 6:05. It's never 6:05. Unless it's I think it's TNT or ESPN. They usually start on the dot. But, there's no like in a baseball game, first pitch is 8:07. It's 8:07. Boom. There's the first pitch. Anyways, I don't want to get up on a whole rant. We have time for this nonsense, of course, because it's just a 4-gamer. But we have a ton of value. I just ran some optimal stuff. The very first optimal, Bobby, on DK, I'm putting no restrictions as far as max players. It's 4 Lakers and it's 4 Knicks, which is just kind of sort of somewhat silly. Now, of course, the Philly projections will change a little bit a lot of it. If Maxey doesn't go, Maxey currently questionable. He hasn't played for 3 or 4 games or so now. New York situation got even worse because, OG Anunoby not playing basketball tonight. Quentin Grimes was just ruled out with his knee. We know Randall's hurt too. So 3 pretty key pieces. We know how Tibbs is going to run these guys into the ground. DiVincenzo has been outrageous. He's been spectacular. The minutes have been crazy too. And even like in blowouts, I don't know if you've been like, he played his guys. Nobody's like Tibbs. I don't know if you were watching the New York game the other day, but they were up either 19 or 21. I don't recall what it was, with like 3 or 4 minutes to go. And he checked DiVincenzo back into the game, which is just amazing. You got to love this guy for DFS purposes. Not necessarily if you play for him, if you like care about, year 10 in your career, but just wild stuff. Does not care. He will sweep the leg as long as possible. And the rotation is going to be a Tuco-esque, very, very tight. What do you got as far as the slate screenshot wise? How good is this New York and Laker chalk? I think the Laker stuff is a little bit more fragile just because they're 14, 15 point dogs right now to your, I want to say your Celtics. They're only your Celtics on the road, right?
They're only my Celtics on the road.
Is there parking issues right now in your outside your house, outside your apartment because Boston's at home versus the Lakers? I assume there is.
There will be, but I won't have to deal with it. It'll be my girlfriend that has to deal with it because she took the car out. So yeah, it's going to be on her, not me. So that's yeah.
Do you not have like a permanent spot? You can't have like a permanent spot, or how does that work?
No, we have resident parking. It just becomes chaos. And then because people are just trying to park anywhere pretty much. And yeah, it's not the best situation.
That's going to be
it's not even like as much parking as it's like the traffic too, because there's like the traffic's like all kind of messed up, and a bridge was closed. It's right next to the garden. So for a long time, for like 5 or 6 years. So there was only one way in and really one way out. And that was pretty much the situation. Now that it's opened up, but it's still just one lane, so it's not the greatest.
You're about like a mile or so, 2 miles away from the garden, give or take?
About a mile, like a 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk. Yeah.
We did get a Lakers lineup, by the way, which is kind of sort of interesting.
So basically for me, just talking about.
Go ahead, Bobby.
I think you're on mute.
No.
For me, like the slate, just in general.
I think you're on like a delay. Bobby. I feel like you're like 2 seconds behind me. And sometimes you have that tech issue, and maybe it's going to catch up as the show progresses.
I'm lagging a bit. Here we go again. I don't know why this keeps happening. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's my building. It's not me. It's
the Laker fans. There's some
the Knicks. The Knicks and the Lakers. Lakers are probably a ton of the value that you need with LeBron and AD out. Knicks, obviously, with Randall. Brunson's going to pop pretty well. DiVincenzo's been absolutely fantastic. Had a great game the other night. And then you get the Tibbs minutes, so it's not bad at all. Outside of that, Tobias Harris, Maxey, I think those guys are in play. That's pretty much where I'm at in terms of like the main guys that I'm going to be focused on the slate. I think there's obviously a good matchup for the Knicks with the Indiana Pacers. Just how they play and the pace that they play at.
Bobby, I need to know.
Mainly
cut you off. Oh, sorry. I was trying to figure out what your plan is if Maxey is out, and that game is 2 hours after, and we're not going to get that news because the Sixers are terrible. They suck when it comes to giving us any sort of like information when it comes to injuries, because the Jazz right now are panicking. They have to prepare for 2 different options. They have no idea if Maxey's going to play or not. It's a huge gamesmanship, reward there for the Philadelphia. And again, with the 2 hour gap, we're almost definitely not going to know about Maxey. And Harris looks fine right now, but he really pops. He would be spectacular if Maxey doesn't play. And I'm thinking about just kind of bumping Harris up and just like, okay, worst case scenario, I have Harris without Embiid, and he's fine, right? It's not a bad play, but he becomes one of the best plays in the slate. If you look at our if-then stuff, Maxey, if he's out, we have Harris at a 46 DK point median projection, 46 on FanDuel as well. I'm rounding up, but essentially the same point. Paul Reed is a positive value, as is Kelly Oubre. There's 3 positive values on Philadelphia if those 3 are out. And they're all fine right now, but they all certainly get better. But what's the plan? As far as I don't know if you're running a bunch of lineups, you're running like one main lineup. what's the strategy for, what if Maxey plays? Because it's the other thing is, are people saving salary for Maxey? Because Maxey, I assume they wouldn't bring him back unless he's like basically full throttle. Can you get 35 minutes of Maxey against a Utah team that plays super fast without Embiid at kind of sort of somewhat low ownership on a 4-game slate? I'm in for that, but of course he might not play. So what's the plan?
Yeah, so I'm bumping all the 76ers too. Reed would also bump. Like you said, Tobias is in a fantastic spot versus Utah, so don't mind getting to him. Beverly, I'd bump. Oubre, I think these guys are all worthy of a projection bump just because of the usage that Embiid leaves out, and then possibly Maxey. So Maxey would be the one guy that I'm not, because I like pretty much the majority of the, like, I like getting to Brunson. I like getting to Mitchell on this slate, Lauri Markkanen, Jaylen Brown. Like, there's other studs too, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not really. I don't think I'm going to have too much Maxey currently at 10 p.m. It would be more the other Sixers.
All right. Anything else we should say before we kind of dive in and talk about it? The slate, 4-gamer, 2-game 7:30, 1-game 8 o'clock, and that Philadelphia-Utah game is kind of sitting there. Back half of the TNT doubleheader. Probably the only time TNT goes to Utah this season. Just guessing. Anything else we should throw out there for the people before we fully dive in and go game by game?
No, we're good. Let's go game by game.
Just want to look at the usage bumps. So I was kind of running it. Somebody in chat was saying that Maxey's not as good without Embiid, and he gets a 5.8% increase in usage. DK points per wise, I'm guessing he hasn't been as efficient, which is probably what's going on, which I guess you can kind of sort of somewhat expect. Without Embiid, probably he's forcing a few more shots and maybe he's not as efficient, but his usage is well elevated to 33% and change. Fantasy points per minute is 1.26, which is that a slight? It's a slight increase. Harris is good too. Harris gets a 4.6% pump in usage also. I have Danny Green on here. Did Danny Green play any minutes for Philadelphia? Why is Danny Green in here? What year? 2023, 2024? Has Danny Green played for the Celtics, the Sixers this year? That's weird. Why is his name in there?
I don't think so.
That is strange. I didn't kick Melton off too. I probably should have. You can't kick everybody off. But yeah, I would not say that Maxey's worse without Embiid. Both Maxey and Harris would get bumps. Okay, let's talk about the first game of the slate. It's the Lakers and the Celtics. 239 is the total. Celtics are fully healthy. They're on an island game. I believe there's only a couple teams. Yeah, so front end of a back-to-back is Indiana and Memphis. Back end is the Cavaliers, and they kind of rolled some guys out, or one of their guys out. We'll talk about that soon enough. But both these teams playing on an island on TNT. But again, Boston full throttle, good to go, ready to wallop the Lakers. 15-point favorites, which is a huge, huge number. The only player out for them is Luke Cornett. Not terribly important. Al Horford good to go as far as his neck. The Lakers, no LeBron, no Davis. Reddish is out. We did get a starting lineup, which I don't know what is maybe surprising that Rui's not starting. I thought Rui might step in for LeBron. He'll probably be their sixth man. I'm curious if our minutes team adjusts that in some way. Russell, Reeves, Prince, Vanderbilt, Hayes, and Rui and Wood will be the two, I would say, the two more appealing plays off the bench for the Lakers. But yeah, how are we playing this out? Because Boston should handle their business here. It's a real threat of a blowout, 15-point favorites. Talk about the Celtics first.
Yeah, so for the Celtics, like prior to the Lakers news, I love Tatum. I still like Tatum. I still like Jaylen Brown. My issue is, like, if this game blows out, like, is there going to be enough for these guys to get there? Probably max one of Boston of all the studs. I like Derek White. I think he's priced pretty much the best. And he's a guy that at that price tag, you can kind of get there. So he's someone I'm interested in. At 6'7". Yeah, Tatum Brown, I'd probably split. I'm not going to get two of them. It is a 4-game slate, so you could get away with getting both if you wanted to not do them in one rule, but I'd probably pick between the two, and my favorite's Tatum. Kristaps Porzingis is down there at 7,500. Had a really good game the other night versus Indiana. He's in play, but it's mainly max two of these Boston guys or min two of these Boston guys. On the Lakers side, it's obviously different. Rui and Wood would be probably the best values, I would say, on the slate. I think Jared Vanderbilt's a little priced up at 4.6, but I still think he's in play. Jackson Hayes at 4.1 played really well the other night. Him and Taurean Prince would kind of fall behind Wood and Rui for me, though. Wood, we're just seeing an incredible usage bump when these guys are both out, so he would be my favorite, followed by Rui. Then getting to more Vanderbilt, Hayes, Prince, those guys. You can throw Max Christie in there if you want to, if you're playing larger field stuff. That's mainly the Lakers. Pretty much gave Boston, like it's usually max 2 of Boston or min 2, however you want to say that. For me, of their studs at least, not getting too much value on Boston. But yeah, Tatum, Brown, I think they're good plays. Porzingis at 7.5. Derek White being my favorite at 6.7.
Getting some news here, Bobby. TJ McConnell's available. TJ McConnell's available to play basketball tonight. Mathurin officially ruled out there for Indiana. Jalen Smith available with his back. For Memphis, John Conchar and Santi Aldama both. Conchar's got an ankle. Aldama's got a tailbone. Is that a butt? Is that a butt? Tailbone? I think it's a butt, right? More or less.
I think it's a butt. Yep.
They're both on track to play. So Memphis likely to have Conchar and Aldama. Yeah, you mentioned Hayes. It's interesting you said the two best plays are the two guys off the bench, but I get that too. Achimura and Wood. Did you happen to catch Wood's tweet the other day? Did you see that story right before the game yesterday or 2 days ago? Do you recall this?
I did not, no. I bet you're about to tell me that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a 4-game slate, Bobby. We got some time to kill, whatever's on chat's mind by all means. So tell me if you buy this story. The Lakers, a lot of people were speculating, I think even RG was, that, hey, Christian Wood's going to draw the start. Davis is out. Wood's probably going to draw the start. And I think Christian Wood was speculating that too, because right as the lineup was dropped, Christian Wood went on his phone and he tweeted nothing else but LOL. He just tweeted a LOL and sent it out. So after the game, somebody asked him about it, and he said, yeah, I was just watching a video, and I meant to quote tweet the video or a picture or whatever he's watching, and I guess he thought it was funny, and he was like retweeting with an LOL. Do you buy that story?
I do not buy it. He was probably upset that he wasn't starting. That's how I would take it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. And he's LOL, he's not starting again tonight. Jackson Hayes is going to draw the start. Hey, that's our poll question for today, producer Steve. Do we believe Christian Wood? Is Christian Wood it's funny. It's funny. And he's also like, there's a reason why Christian Wood has played like 19 teams and he doesn't stick around anywhere. He's kind of one of those guys that's a little goofy. I don't know. Doesn't seem like very much. He's like, it was LeBron or Davis. So he cares about getting buckets. He wants his buckets, and that's that. You got to start to get buckets, I suppose. But yeah. All right. The poll question is up. Producer Steve is asking, was Christian Wood lying about his LOL tweet? Yeah. I mean, and like, I wasn't sure if there's a follow-up question, but what was the video? What was so funny? What did you want to show the people? What did you want to show the world? I wonder if he would have an answer for that. But in any event, yeah, Wood is a better fantasy player than Jackson Hayes. I would say that interesting about it. I don't really like Hayes either, but he has like one of those sneaky guys that can start the game and could mop up. You don't get that very often, right? We saw that last time. Jackson Hayes is like, he's more likely to mop than Wood is. So he could start the game. And if this game gets thoroughly like a shellacking, which is certainly possible, I think there's a decent chance he mops. You mentioned Max Christie. I see he's still a minimum of 3K, but just, I know it's a little different without the stars and all that, but he's such a, bad fantasy player. I'm going to it now. And obviously I can run the court IQ stuff and all that's going to be a little bit different, a little bit more positive, but his fantasy points per minute in the season is 0.65, 13% usage. Prince, 0.63, 13% usage. Vanderbilt, 0.75, 11% usage. He's just going to get his rebounds, basically. Some blocks and some dunks. Rui more of a shooter. The thing with Wood is, Wood's about a fantasy point per minute guy. 18% usage, 17% usage. Certainly, if this game stays close, it's because Boston's missing a ton of threes. And they're going to shoot a pile of threes. That's what they do. Or Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell are playing spectacular. And, that's how this game stays close. So those guys are going to be very popular, but also the first one's out if this game turns ugly. Ownership wise, I'm giving it a refresh, Bobby, but I'm looking at it 47% for D'Angelo Russell on DK, 54% for Austin Reeves, 43% for Christian Wood and his buckets, 46% for Rui. He's only 4K. We're giving him 26 minutes, which is, again, this might change a little bit. That's about right, even coming off the bench, I think. Give it a refresh, see if they changed anything with him not starting, but it probably is somewhere in the low to mid 20s. Let's see. I'm buying time here. Yeah, 26 minutes for Rui, 35 for Russell, who's on the trade block. Did you see the story that, or I shouldn't say story, but somebody tweeting out that has some sort of credibility was talking about the Lakers shopping LeBron, which is kind of interesting. And not completely insane if you really think about it, because they're probably not going anywhere this year.
He was having issues with Pelinka, right? Or at the end of last season, their GM.
LeBron?
Was there
I'm not sure. I think there was rumors of that stuff, but you never really know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But who knows? And what did LeBron tweet out the other day? He tweeted out some sort of he tweeted out something that suggested he didn't know what was going on. I don't know, maybe producer Steve can find it and throw it up on the screen for the people. I don't know what the kids are tweeting these days. I have no clue. But Vanderbilt getting 31 minutes, Prince getting 30 minutes, Rui 26. We're only giving Jackson Hayes 23. Basically, Wood and Hayes are chopping those 48 center minutes. 19 for Christie. There's no chance I play Max Christie. I don't make enough lineups. All right. Brandon's asking if Wood is girthy. Not really. I wouldn't say he's he's not like a Jonas Valanciunas type necessarily. But you said you were talking about rules. You're saying max 2 or min 2 as far as Lakers. I might have missed that. You said min 2, I think.
No, min 3 for Lakers. Max 3 for Lakers. For Celtics studs, min 2, but I'd be afraid of the blowout, maybe min 1. That's pretty much what I have currently.
John is saying the ownership is wrong on Vanderbilt. What's Vanderbilt's current ownership? 14%. It'll probably be higher than that. I think it'll probably be higher than that. They still have an hour plus to figure this out. The closer we get to lock, the more refined it becomes. It's not my department. It's a tough thing to do for sure. It's probably going to be higher than 14%. I do agree with that. Jackson Hayes, Hayes probably be higher than 5% too. Let me get this. Let me vote because this is popping up on my screen. Was Christian Wood lying about his LO? Yeah, I think he was. And so does chat. Chat agrees. 83% is saying he was lying there. Any other general rules you want to say as far as the Lakers and Boston?
No, that's pretty much it. I should re-rank. For me, currently Christian Wood, Rui. I like Taurean Prince more than Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's priced at 4.6. I would much rather Taurean Prince. And then I'd say Hayes. Hayes is going to start probably, and then he's going to bump up in terms of where we have him currently in ownership. I do like the point you made that Hayes might get a start and then get blowout run. I think that's very interesting for this slate. Maybe I should be more bullish on Hayes. Got away with him last night. I was a little worried. But maybe I should bump Hayes up a little bit more at 4-1.
Yeah, that's sort of my quandary too. I think if you're playing the blowout angle, you probably play. I don't know how long they wait to pull Wood out and put Hayes back. And we're not even certain they do that. But I feel like that's what they would do. Cowboys, they're talking about Hayes starting. That's the point we were making. You don't see this situation very often. We saw this last game where the Lakers started Hayes, and he still ended up mopping up. You tend to not get starters mop, but that's just what the situation called for. Let me just double check and confirm, since multiple people are pointing this out. But I was watching the game, 99% sure he closed this game out, despite it was a blowout, and he started the game and he ended the game. I don't want to put out false information. I would not want to do that. Not intentionally. Let's see. So Hayes played 24 minutes against Atlanta. In the first quarter, he played about 7 minutes and change. The second quarter, he played the last 6 minutes, about 13 minutes or so. Half the start of the third quarter. When did Wood come in? Wood came in, he played the rest of the third. The front half of the fourth, it was a blowout. and then Hayes came back in. He took a little breather. He came back in for like a minute and a half, took a little breather, and played the last 3 minutes and 25 seconds alongside, Maxwell Lewis, whoever that is, Jalen Hood, Skylar Mays, and Windler. So like he was fully mopping up with the closers, which, just an interesting note. Is that what they're going to do going forward? I don't know. But I think you can kind of sort of assume they're going to do that and wouldn't fully mop up. But again, you never really know. And also a week from today, trade deadline, maybe some sort of showcase stuff if you believe in that kind of thing, but just kind of putting it out there. I think my favorite player on Boston, by the way, is Porzingis. Just sort of thinking about, I'm thinking about cost and all that kind of stuff too. And just the absence of Davis, I think really, really helps him. I think his life is just made a lot easier. And LeBron too. Less chance to get into foul trouble if you're thinking about such a thing. I don't like to be paranoid like that. Porzingis is not a known fouler, but just I just like who's going to stop Porzingis? I know you can say that about several guys like Tatum. The Lakers don't really have any defensive stoppers, but he's just a little bit cheaper and like a cheaper way to get a piece of Boston, and Boston could put up 140 points here, and it's just a matter of the Lakers keeping up. Russell and Reeves, if you're playing cash games, like they kind of have to be in your cash lineups. I just want to double check and confirm as far as the iterations I was running, but I think they were hitting all my optimals, basically hitting the cap just because, the elevation of minutes and the elevation of usage, and certainly this game can get out of hand, but we're talking cash stuff. Would you agree with that, Bobby? You're playing both those guys in cash, right? Russell and Reeves?
Yeah, for sure. Russell and Reeves are probably the two best plays from the Lakers. I would rank it Reeves, Russell. Russell kind of struggled the other night. He's been hot. But like I said, I think Reeves would probably be the one I'd probably prioritize in tournaments a little bit more. Still going to have Russell, obviously, but for me, it would be Reeves if I had to choose between the two.
Officially, Haliburton is available. Oh, man, what a weird thing. I guess that's a good segue to the next game. Indiana, New York, 234.5 is the total. Indiana just a 2.5 point dog here versus New York. New York missing several pieces, as you've already kind of talked about. Nothing new there with Randall, but they are without one more piece, and Quentin Grimes. Obviously, OG Anunoby hasn't played the last several games as well, which means that Precious Achiuwa should continue to play the four. He's been playing well. The rotation for New York should be really, really tight. Let's see. I have not looked at our minutes. I'm going to say we're giving Brunson 39 minutes, DiVincenzo 39 minutes. Is that that's where I'm setting the over under. You can't give 40 as a projection, can you? Maybe you can. What would you guess? Are you looking right at it, Bobby?
Probably. What did you say, Dean? You went in and out. Sorry.
I'm thinking about the minutes for our minutes projection for guys like Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Hart. Like, how high is too high? How high can you project these guys as a median projection?
I think we have it perfect at 38. So
yeah,
kind of like where I would kind of make the bottom for it for Brunson and Devo and Hart for that matter. We have them kind of ranked like how I would rank them. DiVincenzo would be my favorite. Brunson obviously in a fantastic spot. I think him and Maxey are probably the two best plays. But with Maxey in question, like I just get over on Brunson. I think it makes the most sense to kind of do that and bump Tobias. Also like Josh Hart at 6'3", small forward, power forward eligibility. Okay, like the price tag is a little bit up there, but I don't know. For me on this 4 gamer, I don't really mind. Hartenstein at 6'5" would come behind him if I'm ranking the Knicks. But OG being out, I think bumps Hart, Devo, and Brunson enough to where I want to get a good bit of them.
And Precious gets a huge bump as well. He's looked really good. They're playing the 4 alongside Hartenstein. Whatever sort of minutes limit he had, looks like that's gone. We're giving him 31 minutes. 39 to Hart, 38 to Brunson, 38 to DiVincenzo. Achiuwa is getting Precious Achiuwa. I combined those two for some reason. 35. Hartenstein 31. Somebody asked about McBride. Yeah, I don't think McBride's crazy. And if this game somehow gets goofy or if he gets hot, we're giving he's 3.1K. He's like a 16, 17 point projection. He's getting the most minutes off the bench. Just how thin it is. Sims getting 17, essentially backing up They're chopping up to 48. We're going 31 to Hartenstein and 17 to Simmons at the 5. Fournier. Fournier is available? Okay, they're going to dust off Evan Fournier. This might be his last game ever for New York. I thought he was donezo. He's got that big contract. They're trying to get rid of it in some possible way. Even Malachi Flynn is getting 4 minutes. Look at that in the Toronto trade. And Charlie Brown gets 2 minutes. We'll see. Probably a couple hedge minutes there for Charlie Brown. But yeah, I think you can play McBride. I don't think that's nuts at all. Do you think is McBride in your pool? I think he's supposed to be, right? If you're playing like 20 lineups or so, I think you should have some, at least one.
The thing about McBride, Dean, is he stinks. That's the thing. He will get the minutes. He's going to get the minutes. But yeah, I think there's other value plays I'd probably prioritize on the slate. Don't love McBride. If you're playing 20, get him in the pool or whatever, but he wouldn't be on like a single entry team for me.
I'm trying to think if I'd play him. Like if I play him, I wouldn't play so-and-so. Like he would take minutes away from DiVincenzo, Brunson, and Hart, but those guys, their minutes are so locked. The game obviously blows out, certainly, but it's, you can't assume this game's going to blow out. You can never assume it, but this one you got to tell a story because it's pretty tight. 3-point line, 2-point line. 49% DiVincenzo, 30% Brunson, 21% Josh Hart. I believe he messed around. Triple-double last game, right? Did he drop it to 10-10-10? I think he dropped the 10-10-10. Triple-double for Hart last time out. Just does everything. One of the best rebounding guards in all of basketball. He can score 7 points, basically, and get there. That's not the cleanest path, but it's something he can do. Unlike some other, you have to score. If you don't score, you're dead, basically. Indiana, Haliburton. There, it seems like how they have the contract stuff as far as making to make all NBA. You get a different kind of max deal. You get more money. You got to play 65 games to make all NBA, and each one of those games you got to play at least 20 minutes. So it seems like they're having Haliburton play the 20-ish or so minutes just so he can be on the path for a big contract, which is probably really, really stupid to tie contracts to this, but that's just the way it is right now. And Haliburton wants to set himself up as well as possible in the future, and understandably so. That's why I only gave him 24 minutes. So he's going to play enough 20. You got to play 20 to hit that threshold. But I guess they're not going to fully push him. We're giving him 24 minutes. They're charging full price for 2/3 of the work. 3/4 of the work, however you want to phrase it. It's just, unless something changes minutes wise, I don't know if they're going to tell us, just so you know, that minutes nonsense is gone, or maybe it just happens out of nowhere and you think you can predict it. Long story short, you have to really tell yourself a story to play Haliburton tonight is the point. Otherwise, I think he's unplayable.
Yeah, the minutes limit for Haliburton, there's no way I can get someone on the slate. Definitely prioritizing other guys ahead of Haliburton at 9.4 minutes. No way. Can't play him.
Go ahead.
These other guys, just I don't really see myself getting it to a ton of Indiana, and it's kind of reflected in the ownership. Miles Turner, Aaron Nesmith, they're the two highest owned currently. I guess Aaron Nesmith would see a bump with Mathurin out. Possibly Nembhard. We're showing 2% ownership for Nembhard. TJ McConnell's at 4.4, but they're not guys that I really have interest in on the slate. No Jalen Smith for me at 4.4. Yeah, and not much here from the Indiana Pacers.
You're not chasing the Aaron Nesmith game where he put up 57 DK points?
I'm not. I do, from time to time, think Nesmith can hit those outcomes, but he's not someone I'm going to chase.
Obi Toppin revenge game, Brandon's pointing out in chat. Yeah, I forgot about that one. The path just isn't very clear, especially with Smith being ruled in. The Indiana bigs is kind of a mess. They traded for Pascal. They gave up a lot for Pascal, and they're just not. I mean, I assume it'll change a little bit come playoff time, but he's lost minutes compared to what he was getting in Toronto. 33 is what he's expected, and he was playing, 35, 36, and those minutes matter. Those several minutes matter, and it has not really fully adjusted as far as his price. So he's playable, but just Miles Turner, 28 minutes for Miles Turner for the abdometer. Just they don't. Indiana is kind of like Utah, right? Where there's one guy who's going to play 30 plus minutes. The rest is just a mishmash of like mid to high 20s, and it's annoying. And the matchup versus New York's not great, right? It's probably my least favorite team on the slate. One of my least favorite teams on the slate, I should say. And in the Haliburton stuff, he's unplayable, but he's playing enough to muck a lot of other people. So, I wish I had more to say about Indiana. You got anything else as far as the Pacers?
Nope. That's pretty much it. I'm not really getting to a ton of Pacers.
Are we getting some news? Let's see. That's for Friday. Oh, Şengün is ill for Friday. Nothing else as far as this slate. That's the 2 7:30 games. Crunch time coming in about 20 minutes or so. You got SquirrelPatrol. You got Taylor Smith. You have Kevin Roth taking you guys up the lock. Lock, if you haven't pieced it together just yet, lock is 7:30 tonight. 7:30 lock. You got an extra half hour to tilt. And an extra half hour to wait for Philadelphia to not tell you about Tyrese Maxey because they're not going to, because they're jerks. Cleveland and Memphis, 215 is the total. Memphis is a 7.5 point dog here. Cleveland is traveling. They are playing the back half of a back-to-back. They were fully healthy essentially, but then they ruled out Evan Mobley in the back half of a back-to-back. Tristan Thompson, of course, still suspended. Darius Garland came back and he played, mid-20s as far as minutes. He lost a bunch of weight. He was only drinking. He was drinking his food. He broke his jaw. As far as Memphis, it looks like Santi Aldemon's going to play. He's got that butt. He's got a tailbone. He's probable. On track to play officially. The same deal with John Konchar. He's got a butt, but it's mostly the ankle we were concerned about. Kennard is doubtful. Is Derrick Rose officially doubtful? I thought he was out. Is he he's not going to play, but it's just funny. Good for him if he's on track to play a little bit. Vince Williams should be good to go with his knee. We are anticipating Scottie Pippen Jr., John Konchar, Vince Williams, Santi Aldama, and Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. to draw the start here for Memphis against Cleveland. Start wherever you want to start.
Yeah, so for me, Jaren Jackson's obviously the best play on Memphis. Can get handsy, as we know, but it's a very strong usage bump. The Cavaliers, they're not a team like I usually am too interested in attacking in terms of bigs. So Jaren Jackson's probably going to make my pool, but he's not going to be someone that I'm prioritizing. Aldama, just for the price tag, I would say. I think him and Vince Williams would probably be the most interesting from the Memphis side. Scottie Pippen Jr. is fine. But yeah, for me, it would be more Aldama and Vince Williams, and that's pretty much it. I don't know if you have any other takes on Memphis.
I would say specific to FanDuel, Pippen is a really, really strong play. I like him on DK too. He's 4.7 on DK, but FanDuel where, the price is going to be a little higher. The cap might be a little bit tighter. Just different kind of build, obviously. But he is, I believe he's 4.7 over there as well. I just wanted to confirm. Yeah, he's 4.7 over there also coming in at 23%. If that's the number, I think that's a really good number because I suspect he will be higher than that. It appears that he has overtaken Gilliard as far as the starting point. He's outplayed him. The options that Memphis has obviously is pretty thin. Minutes wise, what we have as far as Memphis is Triple J getting 33, Vince Williams 35, Aldama assuming he starts, assuming he plays 29 minutes. GG Gregory Jackson 25, kind of mid-tier guys. Konchar coming back with 28 minutes. Rowdy, big body Rowdy 25 minutes. It is a little bit tricky to sort of figure it out. Tillman, if he draws a start, that's possible, but it's probably not likely, but possible if he starts. I'm interested. We saw he was dealing with that. I think it was a knee he was dealing with, just kind of playing through it. His minutes were somewhat limited. He was kind of on and off the injury report. And he started a couple times, played a couple of good games, but with them getting a little bit healthier, I would imagine they're going to bump up Triple J to the 5, which is what we've seen some nights, and we're expecting that again tonight. So not really interested in Tillman. Unless he starts, which is unlikely. So your favorite player on Memphis was who again? I apologize. I know you ran it off, but several players.
Probably be Aldama or Vince Williams.
Let's see. I'm hearing rumors that Adams has been traded to the Rockets for Depot. What? Is J3 just screwing with me? Is that Steven Adams?
That's legitimate. What? Yeah.
Wait, Victor Oladipo and Steven Adams?
Dean, check the screen.
Steven Adams to Houston Rockets for Victor Oladipo and 3 second-round picks. Sources tell ESPN. That's according to Woj.
What year was this trade? This is from
That's what I thought. When I first saw this, I thought this was like a joke when he first put this on the screen.
Yeah, Heat legend Victor Oladipo. And yeah, what was okay, interesting trade, but yeah.
You need those 3 second-round picks in the NBA.
I mean, that's just some sort of finagling, right? Obviously, it doesn't affect us tonight at all. Depot his knee is shot, right? Who knows when he's going to come back, if ever. Adams, of course. I think Adams is out for the season, but this is just jockeying for salary cap stuff, I assume, or maybe it's buying second-round picks. But again, none of it matters for us tonight, but that is interesting. I thought we had an actual Woj bomb there for a second. I'm like, what? Oladipo to Memphis? All right. And Oladipo's hurt anyway, right? I don't think he's playing anytime soon as well. So Donovan Mitchell is a star. How do you feel about Donovan Mitchell amongst the other stars tonight?
I like Donovan Mitchell a good bit. We know the ceiling. Last night I had a good bit of Mitchell. It worked out. I think he had 72 DK fantasy points. So yeah, it's weird because like for the Grizzlies, their defense has been better with these guys out. I think I would put Mitchell behind Brunson and Tatum in terms of guys I'm prioritizing on the slate, and even Harris, but Harris isn't in that price range. But I still think Mitchell's a good play along with Jared Allen. Someone in chat was saying they thought Jared Allen would break the slate tonight.
He played sick yesterday, just a note. Jared Allen was sick last night, and now he's playing the back half. I'm not saying you can't play him, just saying, and he probably feels better. I assume he feels better. I don't know. But he kind of gutted it out last night, and it should be a little bit easier, a little cleaner without Mobley. Just wanted to throw that out there. I'm guessing he's fine, otherwise he wouldn't play. But feel free to continue. By the way, I did Google, or I went on ESPN, I should say. They're talking about the people in the secondary market there in Boston, very upset. Those tickets, whatever value you had for them, they certainly depleted in the absence of LeBron, the absence of Davis. Tickets as low as $129. So still you're getting some money in Boston. Do you want to know what ticket prices are? The cheapest ticket price in Memphis and Cleveland. How much does it cost to get in the building? Don't give me any sort of service fee nonsense.
I know a couple of Boston scalpers are probably pretty upset tonight if that's the case. Yeah, for me, if I had to guess for the Memphis situation, it'd probably be around $5 to $10 for a ticket.
$2.
Okay.
$2.
Yeah. How much is a beer though? It's $40.
Probably like $13. I don't give or take. I don't know if you try like Natty Ice or something. Splurge. Get yourself a good beer, I suppose. Why go for the half measures? But all right. Anything else we should say as far as Cleveland and Memphis that needs to be stressed before we get to the hammer that is Philadelphia and Utah? Get the questions from chat. Start letting him some questions. We'll try to knock out whatever's on your mind. I see some 2v2 stuff. I may have missed them. I'll try to scroll back, but otherwise, please ask them again, and we'll do that before Roth and the gang comes on. And you know what? If they come on, they'll ask those questions. But you got anything else, or shall we move on and talk on the hammer that is Philadelphia and Utah? Will we throw our hands up with Philadelphia?
Niang and Wade are larger field tournament plays. We didn't really touch on them. But outside of that, we can move on.
Yeah, I think we have Wade starting, right? Yeah, Wade's going to start. Defensive guy, good rebound guy. Not a big usage guy. He's a big that's capable of hitting a three. Niang's going to come off the bench. He's kind of got to score. He can. The minivan. Ownership-wise, is there going to be any ownership for either one of those guys? I don't think so, right? Niang 5%, Wade 7%, give or take. Our ownership, by the way, did refresh. 641 on the East Coast, so I know we were talking about ownership earlier. But give that a refresh, and again, it becomes more and more refined. The closer we get to lock. Philadelphia takes on the Jazz, back half of the TNT doubleheader. It's 239 as far as the total. Philadelphia is a 5-point dog here. Who's in? Who's out? Well, Philadelphia is going to be without Joel Embiid. Tyrese Maxey, we don't know. Nicholas Batum, we don't know. Marcus Morris, doubtful. Melton's, of course, out as well. Utah is fully healthy, and they like to play their 10-man rotation. And almost everybody plays 27 minutes, give or take a few minutes. Well, not everybody, you know what I mean. Markkanen's going to play 31, 32, 33, but that's about it as far as players playing in the 30s. So, yeah, what can we say about this game with incomplete information? What do you got, Bobby?
Yeah, the Maxey news is huge. Maxey and probably Brunson are two of the strongest plays in the slate. But without knowing, like, I'm just going to get, like I said at the top of the show, as much Brunson. I'm going to prioritize Tobias. Like, I'm going to make sure I get pretty significantly over the field on Tobias, just in case, like, he falls in a situation where Maxey's out and you're adding the Embiid usage, which is non-existent because he's not playing. I just think Tobias is in a phenomenal spot if that happens. Paul Reed would be my second favorite Sixer. From there, probably Kelly Oubre. I think you'd play Pat Bev and larger field stuff. But mainly Tobias is the guy that I'm going to take a pretty significant stand on in my lineups, just to basically have something to get to this, like, just to have a piece from this Philadelphia side. I do think on the Utah side, Walker Kessler at 4,200 is priced pretty interestingly.
Huh.
Same for Jordan Clarkson at 5,700. Jordan Clarkson's one of those guys, like, he has a great ceiling. So on a slate like this, 4-gamer, he might be someone I'd be interested in getting overweight on. Also think John Collins and Colin Sexton are firmly in play. I would rank Clarkson and Kessler ahead of those guys for me, though, just in terms of, like, where I have them currently, just because I think those guys, the latter two, Collins and Sexton, will probably see more ownership, where Kessler and Clarkson are going to see a bit less, I would imagine.
If you're making
so
groups,
yeah, I would
split up Collins and Kessler. Max one of Collins, Kessler for making groups. We got 28 to Collins, 20 going to Kessler, but, like, it certainly can be 24. Somebody asked about Mo Bamba or Kessler. Well, let's see. We're predicting. I think Kessler is a better play than Bamba. What do you think?
I think Kessler is one of my, like, in terms of, like, cheap guys. If you get away from the Lakers, he's probably my favorite value, I would say, on the slate currently.
A Cowboy wants to know single entry GPP. I kind of want to know the rest of your lineup in this one, but, like, Derek White or Vince Williams Jr., who do you prefer amongst those two, a la carte, knowing nothing else?
I like Derek White, just for the Celtics, 6'7". He would be the one guy in the Celtics that I would fare fairly reasonable. Like, if there's a blowout at 6'7", he can pay that off, right? Drew's at 6'3", but I kind of prefer White to Drew usually, so it would be White for me. Vince Williams falls behind White in that scenario.
Let's see. Philadelphia. We have the if then. This is just if Maxey is out. Again, there's a chance Batum is out, which, most people like Batum, whatever, who cares? But he's projected right now for 28 minutes. And those minutes have to go someplace if he doesn't play basketball tonight. Maxey, of course, projected for 37 minutes and 47 DK points if he plays. If not, he's not going to play, and those minutes go elsewhere, and his usage goes elsewhere. Currently, we have Harris at a 39-point projection on DK, but if we kick Maxey off the court, he would gain 7 points. And 39 points at a 7K asking price is really good as is. Like you were saying, I think I'm going to as well. I might just get him. I might get Harris naturally, but I think you're supposed to artificially bump him up to, like, I don't know, 40, 41, 42 to get yourself some more. Either way, he's fine. One way, he's spectacular, at least projection-wise going in. Oubre is another guy that looks fine. Actually, he doesn't look great at 6'5". 31-point projection at 6'5" is not great. Playable, not great. But he would jump up to, like, a 36-point projection. Pat Bev is another guy who would gain about 7 points or so, jumping up from 21 to 28 points. Some names in chat that are being thrown out: Jaden Springer. Springer, kind of a scorer. 17 points will be his projection, 18 minutes if Maxey doesn't play. I think there's a little bit more of a ceiling on that. Again, that's a median number. I would prefer him over Korkmaz. Korkmaz is another cheapie. Dan House, another cheapie. Who would be your favorite cheapie on Philly? I guess amongst House, Korkmaz, if you want to throw, like, KJ Martin or Bamba, Springer into the conversation. I think that my favorite one would be Springer amongst that group.
Yeah, for me, it's probably Springer too. I don't see myself really getting to a ton of these Philly cheap guys. Obviously, with the situation in flux, things will definitely change. But I think Springer would probably pop as the strongest value.
I don't know if Steve in chat has sources or if he knows people, but Steve's telling us Maxey's going to play. Trust me, bro. He might play. I don't know. I kind of think he's going to play too, but I don't. It's like 60-40 for me. So I don't know. I do think he's a really interesting play to put in a lineup, and because I don't think he's going to get much ownership. I feel really confident we're not going to know until after 8 o'clock. And we're going to know like at 9:30 when the Philadelphia 76ers like official Twitter account tweets it out, because like even beat writers sometimes don't know, it seems like.
Maybe you just bump him and see where he falls. That's kind of how I would play it if you have conviction he's going to play.
Maxey, you mean?
Maxey, yeah. And I would just take a stronger stance on Tobias. Like maybe, what do we have for Tobias's ownership currently? Like I would play him well above the field.
34.
Yeah, I could play him at like 70%.
They're also touting sides and totals here. Scores and odds. Check out scoresandodds.com of the props and pick'em package for such things if you're gambling needs. But according to the chat, several people like Utah -5. Tough place to play historically. They're probably going to get up for it. At least the crowd is for being on TNT, because they're just never on TNT. So probably a full house here. Probably also bummed that Embiid's not there. And what's the secondary market on that? How much it costs? Oh, you can get into this game for $10. Maybe Noto's sneaking into the game tonight. Who knows? But $10 seems pretty cheap. $8 more than it costs to get into Memphis in the Grindhouse. But obviously, these are nosebleeders. They're not spectacular seats. But you can get in the building. New York, by the way, the Garden, $92. So that seems pretty cheap for the Garden. Obviously, again, probably you're stuck behind a pole or something. But all right. Other questions in chat that are lurking? I know we have crunch time coming in here shortly. I got a 2v2 for you, and I'm happy I'm not answering this question because I hate this question because Max Christie, I'm out. Like Max Christie and Tobias Harris, I don't want to play Max Christie. I just don't want to do that. Maybe you do. Versus Oubre and Pritchard.
I would go Tobias and Christie. But maybe I'm wrong. It should be on the Oubre side. I just want to get Tobias into my lineups if we don't know what the situation is with Maxey. That would be my reasoning. He's
the best play in amongst those four, but Christie's floor is like 7 if things don't go well. He can get up to 20, I guess. Let's see. J3 says, whatever happened to SimLabs? SimLabs is still a thing. Roth is going to tell you about SimLabs for sure. SimLabs, it's the expert DFS lineup generation tool from RotoGrinders and Fantasy Labs. Now you can use it for both NFL and NBA. Only one more game left of the NFL. Just a few clicks, you have hundreds of well-built correlated lineups for whatever contest you're playing. If you happen to be running out of time before lock, you can quickly build a set of lineups to fill out your entries. You want to see who might be falling under your radar. Use this tool to examine players the field might be sleeping on. If you happen to be a combo subscriber, you have access already to both NFL, NBA, SimLabs, while sports-specific premium subs will have access to the corresponding sport in SimLabs. Brandon wants to know Vando or Kessler. I assume that's Vanderbilt or Kessler.
Kessler for me. Kessler.
Yeah. Let's see. Another 2v2 Brian's got for you for DK tournaments. Let's see. Buddy Hield and Markkanen. They didn't really talk about Markkanen. I like Markkanen. I think he's fine. Versus Naismith and Pascal. Naismith, Pascal, or Hield and Markkanen?
It would be the Hield Markkanen side.
Flying Armbar saying it's Evan Fournier season. I mean,
it's never ever.
We're projecting. What's the most minutes Fournier has played all season this year? I think we're projecting like 15 minutes or so for him. Let me pull that. I mean, I'm not suggesting you should play him, but
I have a question about groups for these Lakers. If we think Rui and Wood are both coming off the bench, and we think that they're the strong values, should we be max wanting? Grouping them away from each other in some sense, or just thinking?
I think you max one of Hayes and Wood, and maybe Vanderbilt, but definitely max one of Hayes and Wood. I don't think those guys play together much. I don't think you have to include Rui necessarily. I think he might be his own entity, but I might be a little restricting, but that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe that's a Squirrel question, or maybe even a Taylor question. They're going to be jumping on in a second. Now I see
here.
Bryant. I know.
Okay, all right. I don't know if you saw us or not.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's some questions already getting loaded up here, Roth. I know you're going to go through the whole spiel and all that, but I told the people, obviously you go to questions first in the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. You go there, and then if there's time allows, which I think time is going to allow, you jump over to the YouTube. So there are some questions loading up, and I saw Brian says, "Hey, Dean, you told me to ask a question. I asked a question, I got no reply, and now I'm like ferociously trying to find Brian's question because I feel like a big jerk." But my apologies. Let's see. Oh, DraftKings single entry. What would be your 3 major spend ups for any position? There, Bobby. We'll end with that one as we're yielding to crunch time. Your 3 best spend ups, any position on the slate.
Brunson, Tobias, and I would say Tobias isn't really a spend up. Brunson, Tatum, and Mitchell, I would say. But Tobias is probably my favorite play.
And do you have like a favorite play that's going to break the slate that's kind of sort of somewhat sneaky? I know it's a 4-gamer, so, sneaky is relative.
Jordan Clarkson.
All right. Roth, what's going on? How's Thursday treating you again? Is this derailing dinner time, or is everything all right? 7 o'clock, a little goofy?
No, yeah, all hell's breaking loose. My wife is like doing paint with the kids where they walk through the paint and then walk around the freaking house. I don't know what the hell's going on out there. I'm not thrilled. But I'm happy to be joining you guys and not having to witness it in person.
The kids are probably having a blast, though, with the paint, I would imagine. That seems like fun for kids.
No, anytime you give a 2-year-old just like a canister of paint to squirt around, it's good times. Yeah, great.
We did that the other day, Roth. We went through the same stuff. So.
It is just like so anxiety-inducing to watch this. Oh, brutal. Anyways, it's good. Dean, I gave you the win for all the money with your free $1,000 bet. I said Wemby over blocks. You can take the alt line. You can do what you want. He had 6 blocks last night. Did you bet it? Are you $1,000 richer?
We talked about this yesterday. My bet got canceled on me because I did not use it in time. But I talked to customer service and they said a one-time deal. We're going to give it back to you. Now you have till February 7th to use your $1,000 bonus bet.
You had it,
and I'll be. What's that?
You had it back in time to bet the Wemby. You could have bet over Wemby 5.5 blocks. You'd be rich right now.
So we don't have the time to get into it, but it's probably not the sharpest thing when you have a bonus bet to bet on something that's like minus 115. You want to bet on a positive because you don't get the $1,000 back. You don't get the money invested. You think
minus 115 was over 5.5 blocks on the alt line?
Oh, well, no, my book doesn't offer that kind of alt line. But you didn't say alt line. You didn't say alt line. Now you're just playing the results.
I implied you need a better book.
Well, I'm in Florida, and unfortunately in Florida, it is monopoly. So take it up with the Florida, I suppose. But all right, we're going to step aside myself and Bobby Gomes, the FanDuel sponsor Crunch Time. You got Squirrel Patrol, you got Taylor Smith, and you have Kevin Roth. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff, as always. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. Got a small little slate, starting a little late, but you know the drill. Joined by 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz. Taylor in the house with the Frogs hoodie. What up, Taylor?
Do have the Frogs hoodie. Yeah, not much. 4-game slate, like you said. Not much going on. Well, there is a lot going on.
TCU
actually,
Horned Frogs? Is that what's happening there?
It is. It is indeed.
Did you go there?
I did.
Oh, I did not realize that you were living that Texas life at any point in your life.
Yeah, I grew up in Houston, so Memorial High School represent.
Wait, that's where my wife went. That's insane. I live right there. I could hit it with a baseball. Like I could throw a baseball at it from where I live. That's crazy. Hood. Yeah.
Sweet.
Wow.
Who knew?
I will ask. Maybe she knows you. Maybe you guys are friends. Maybe I'll get an awkward story. I don't know, but looking forward to finding out. We got Squirrel in the house as well. Squirrel, what up, man? Do you also you know my wife? You from Houston?
Yeah, no Texas connection.
Yeah,
Right.
just check.
Been there a few times.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, good. It's a weird slate. This is the slate that is like most like another slate that I could like possibly envision. This is basically like Tuesday's slate, one less game. I think like 6 of the 8 teams playing tonight also played on Tuesday with almost the same exact injury situations. So they're just like jumbling around the games. Like,
okay. So do we feel like we've solved the puzzle then already, or not so much?
not really, because I think it's like they adjust the salaries and there is like some additional wrinkles. Like I think was on Tuesday. Just Anthony Davis was out. Like tonight, LeBron's out too. So mixing things up.
Okay, very nice. Looking forward to walking through it, breaking it down. We like to start on FanDuel because, hey, this show is sponsored by FanDuel. That's the reason it's free. And that's the reason instead of saying, hey, give us all your money, I'm saying, hey, give us a thumbs up. Just hit us with a little like. That's all we ask for. It's there at the bottom of the screen. Smash that like button for some free content. Taylor, why don't you walk me through what has happened? I mean, we mentioned some of the big news, AD and LeBron out, and then maybe what we're still waiting for as well.
Yeah, the big one we're still waiting on is Maxey, questionable for Philly. That's the last game of the night, of course.
Yes.
I think 2 hours after everything else. But I think we've gotten all the other major news. The other one, Embiid is out. We got that yesterday. The Knicks are, again, really thin. Anunoby and now Quentin Grimes is also out, in addition to Julius Randle, of course. So a lot of Knicks, a lot of Lakers, some Sixers. Maybe some Jazz on DK. So should be fun.
Okay. Very nice. All right. Well, let's just jump right into it here and let's walk through a FanDuel cash build. And then Squirrel will bring you in shortly for some tournament thoughts. Taylor, what do you got?
Yeah, so point guard looks kind of like a spendy position on FanDuel. There's not a ton of value here. The one kind of cheapie that could emerge is Scottie Pippen Jr. He's 4.7. We don't know if he'll start. We did get that Conchar is expected to play tonight. So we'll see what they do with their lineup. They're still really thin in general, the Grizzlies are, but Pippen's viable if he starts. If he doesn't start, I'm less inclined to look his way in cash. The guy you are playing in cash is Brunson for 9.9. He's getting more expensive, but still tons of usage for him with Anunoby and Randall out. Indiana's also like one of those better matchups that we've been targeting all season. Good pace up spot for New York. With the Lakers stars out, D'Angelo Russell is going to pop in projections. They're playing in Boston, which is about as tough as it gets. The game, I think, has a 15-point spread now, which is a bit worrisome for a guy like Russell who would potentially not play blowout minutes. But for 7.6, he still pops in a full allotment of minutes in the projections. I think in cash, I'm still inclined to look his way for 7.6. Especially with point guard not having a ton to love. Like Colin Sexton in the mid-range is okay. Maxey's more in play on DK, I think. Donovan Mitchell, another kind of spendy guy you can consider, but not the best game environment there against Memphis for the Cavs. Shooting guard, Austin Reeves is over here. Another guy that'll get a lot of usage with AD and LeBron out. Not as expensive as he should be for the role. 68 on FanDuel. Happy to play him in cash. The kind of staple that we've had all day is Dante DiVincenzo. Now with Grimes and Anunoby out, he's going to project for, I think we had him at 38 minutes. There's room for upside on that. He can certainly play 40 if the game's close. He gets a big usage bump in this scenario. We're paying a premium for him. 7.2 on FanDuel is a lot. But
that's hilarious.
It's
that is
insane.
Like, who would have ever thought Dante DiVincenzo 7.2 and we're like, yeah, that's the play.
And we're playing him.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, he's probably been, 5K all year, but here he is at 7.2 and still looks good. He's going to be really popular, but in cash, we don't care about that. D'Lo, you can play at shooting guard. Kelly Oubre, another one that'll get more usage without Embiid for Philly. Reasonable value here in the mid-range at shooting guard, small forward. Vince Williams is a guy I really like in tournaments. He'll be back for the Grizzlies tonight. He's been playing a ton of minutes for them pretty much the last month or so, whenever they've been down all these guys. He's a decent cash play in the mid-range as well. Let's see. Small forward Josh Hart, another Knick that could play 40-ish minutes just by default. He's 6'5" on FanDuel. Tobias Harris looks really good. Another guy that'll get a big usage boost with Philly missing Embiid. I think he's definitely a core play for me on this slate. Rui Hachimura, not starting for the Lakers, but he will play a ton of minutes in theory off the bench. Should see usage for them as well. That's kind of it for small forward, I think. Power forward, Christian Wood, another guy coming off the bench, but we saw the other night, still has a path to minutes. I think a blowout likely helps them a little bit. So he's 5-1 on FanDuel. Not a punt, but still popping into most lineups over here. Jared Vanderbilt is starting. Not a big usage source for the Lakers, but the minutes should be fine for him. Good per minute. or decent per minute. Hachimura, Tobias, Josh Hart, 3 more guys to consider. And then at center, Paul Reed for 6'2", should start for Embiid. Utah plays at a fast pace, not the greatest defense. I think he's a pretty easy cash play at your center spot. With Christian Wood and Precious Achiuwa being 2 more you can consider here. Achiuwa's been playing a ton and starting with these injuries to the Knicks, but I think that pretty much wraps it up for FanDuel.
Okay, very nice. Squirrel, let's bring you in here. Just saw Brandon in the chat says Embiid torn meniscus. Do we know that? I mean, we knew he was out.
I think it's new news. I mean, it looked like I didn't see the injury, but I had heard it look bad, like potentially season ending.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the prognosis is on the torn meniscus. I guess obviously not as bad as it could be probably. But yeah.
Yeah, it's not like an ACL bad, but it's not great. It's not something that you want. Okay. Anyways, no surgery 4 to 6 weeks or sooner. Okay. Oh, that was someone who did it themselves. Anywho, that sucks for Embiid and just for basketball fans in general. But let's go ahead and dive into this FanDuel tournament build, Squirrel. Where are you starting? What chalk are you liking? How are you getting different? What are you doing here?
Sure. So I would say just in general, the chalk that I think I probably like the most is a couple of the Lakers guys, but like Tobias Harris, I think really, like I said, like the really big like late swap thing. We have to think about the last remaining injury situation is Tyrese Maxey, but it's almost like not as big of a deal as it seems because Tobias Harris is like underpriced no matter what. So the question is like maybe do you like not play Maxey? I'm probably like going to be a little bit under the field on Maxey just because like he has to like win kind of twice, right? Like he has to play and then he actually has to put up a tournament winning score. It's a little bit easier like playing Utah, and a little bit easier without Joel Embiid. But like I don't know. I mean, he's got like a sprained ankle. They're probably not going to push it. I don't know. I'm building in a little bit more Maxey on FanDuel than I am on DraftKings. But like kind of trying to avoid it, you know, giving him a little bit of a bump down, and he starts not appearing in lineups. So just to go position by position, like the chalk that I do like, D'Angelo Russell, playing some Jalen Brunson, building in some Scottie Pippen Jr. He's done pretty well. I'd have to imagine, like given the situation there, they're probably gonna continue to play him no matter what. Maybe he might not start, but he's probably gonna see like good minutes for like a $4,700 price tag on FanDuel. Colin Sexton is somebody that is in the Philadelphia game, so it potentially opens up some late swap possibilities. I'm building in some Patrick Beverly, about 10%, just in case anything happens. Like, I'm probably not even a late swap off of it if Maxey's in. I like Miles McBride. Like, he's on both sites. He's like pretty cheap, near minimum price. He's better on DraftKings, I guess. He's $4,200 on FanDuel. But he's going to be getting a lot of Quentin Grimes minutes. And then some Derek White and Drew Holiday, Donovan Mitchell, guys you kind of always want to be playing a little bit in like multi-entry, but I think you can even put like Donovan Mitchell in there and a single entry, just in case he goes circle. Shooting guard, it's really hard to get away from Dante DiVincenzo. Could be one of my highest owned players on the slate. It does seem funny to say it, but I mean he's been playing like almost the entire game. The last 2 games. I mean, he just put up 68 points. So I'm not trying to get away from him tonight. I really like getting to Austin Reeves. More D'Angelo Russell. Kelly Oubre is like Tobias Harris Jr., where like he's underpriced, even if Maxey's in or Embiid being out. Then like playing some Vince Williams, maybe a little bit of Buddy Hield. And one chair of Max Christie on. Small forward. That's where you see some Tobias Harris, Josh Hart, Rui Hachimura. He's coming off the bench, I believe, but still definitely play with LeBron out. Playing some David Roddy. And then again, if you're doing like 150 lineups, like get some Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum in there. Like the game could be a blowout, but it could not be. So good to have them represented in your 150 set. Power forward, I like a lot of Precious Achiuwa. I think, Isaiah Hartenstein may still be a little bit limited, even if he's not. Like, Precious just played 40 minutes. He's still only 5,900 playing against Indiana. So I'm getting him to my lineups. I like Santi Aldama a lot as well. I actually had him as like my contrarian pick on the expert survey. He was questionable. He's probably not going to be as highly owned as he should be. the Lakers guys, like I don't like getting Christian Wood as much as the field, I think. Just because like his minutes are very like tenuous. Like he's a good tournament play if he's like not popular. On FanDuel, I think he's gonna be popular and he's 5,100 and he's not starting. Like I might be playing some, but probably under the field. Gonna probably play a good amount of Jackson Hayes in lineups I don't have Christian Wood in, just because he's the starter. So I think everybody assumes like Wood's gonna go out, come off the bench and go berserk, but like maybe Jackson Hayes just does well and plays longer. Center, going to be a lot of Paul Reed, getting some Precious Achua. I like being over the field on Bobamba as a pivot off of Paul Reed. So Paul Reed's going to be pretty popular. It's a pretty binary thing where like Paul Reed can just go out, get in foul trouble, then you're seeing a bunch of Bobamba. Bobamba doesn't play like huge minutes, but he's cheap and he's like a good leverage pivot off of Paul Reed.
Sure. Makes sense. Okay. Did get this question that I really liked in the chat from Joe. He says, Squirrel, what is your favorite pacer run back with all the Knicks? Because I assume you're probably running multiple Knicks in most lineups. You running that back with Pacers?
Not a lot of Pacers. It's just tough. Like they're kind of overpriced. So I'm not forcing in like Pacers run backs. Like I think you can play like a little bit of Aaron Nesmith just went berserk. Buddy Hield, Miles Turner. But on FanDuel is like much more of a sprinkling than like running back like a pacer in every lineup or a bunch of things.
Gotcha. Makes sense. All right, we're going to kick it to DK. But first, as I mentioned, this show is sponsored by FanDuel. You bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. For new users in Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Taylor, let's jump on over to DK. What do you got for us over there?
It's going to be a lot of the same names that we talked about on FanDuel. D'Angelo Russell again, starting at point guard. 7-3 on DK. Still pricey, but should see plenty of usage even in a tough spot. Austin Reeves, point guard, eligible on DK2. Only 6'2". He was kind of in play even if one of LeBron or AD was in, but now that they're out, he's a core play. Noto has him tagged appropriately. Ditto for Jalen Brunson. Price keeps coming up. Maybe not high enough yet for the role he's playing. One of the many Knicks capable of playing 40 minutes in regulation. Those three are probably staples in cash. I could see the merit to fading D'Lo if you're scared of the blowout, but they do project well. Colin Sexton, maybe kind of a fringy cash play. Miles McBride's only 3-1. Should see a few more minutes here, but I don't think we really need to go all the way down there in cash. There's not like a ton to pay up for on this slate. So Dante DiVincenzo again, 68 on DK, still priced up, still looks good. Reeves over here, shooting guard eligible too. That's pretty much it. Maybe Colin Sexton again, but don't think you absolutely have to go there. Small forward, Josh Hart, core play for sure in cash. Rui Hachimura off the bench looks fine. Small forward eligibility is useful. Love Tobias on this slate for the, I think he's 7K flat on DK. Looks really good. Great matchup against Utah on the road. Point you can consider is Taurean Prince. He's another kind of older Laker that maybe wouldn't get blowout run, but he's cheap enough to consider just because there's so much usage to go around with this team tonight. Vince Williams, if you find yourself shopping in the mid-range, is cash viable too. Power forward, Jared Vanderbilt is eligible here at power forward. Ditto for Rui, ditto for Tobias. I do like the Santi Aldama call. Should start here now that he's expected to play for Memphis. John Collins, maybe. I think he's 5'9" on DK. Not the worst idea. Precious Achua, just a minute's play really for the Knicks. And at center, we're again looking at Christian Wood over here. 4K flat on DK. I think Jackson Hayes is the same price, or maybe 4,100. Our projections prefer Wood. I don't think you're wrong to play Hayes in cash if you are more comfortable with the starter. Paul Reed again over here looks good. Jared Allen maybe with Evan Mobley out he's shown a better ceiling in these situations this season. Mobley's out again tonight, so don't mind that, but more inclined to either pay all the way down for a Laker or mid-range with Paul Reed.
Okay, very good. I guess we'll just bring it right back to Squirrel with more tournament thoughts, which I assume are very, very similar to what you were thinking on FanDuel.
Pretty similar. Yeah, there's a little bit of pricing differences. One, I guess I'll go through a couple of the pricing differences first. Christian Wood is 4,000 on DraftKings, so it's harder to get away from him, even though I don't love him as a play. He's just much cheaper than on FanDuel. And kind of the flip side of that is Paul Reed's like more expensive. I think more expensive, at least relatively to the salary cap. So getting a little bit less Paul Reed. He doesn't like score as well on DraftKings either. So getting a little bit of less of Paul Reed, a little bit more Christian Wood. But going position by position, I still like the Lakers guys, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell at point guard. Getting a lot of Jalen Brunson as well. I'm getting probably like more Miles McBride than I should. I just think he's an interesting tournament pivot from a lot of these Lakers. He's only 3,100. He's probably going to be playing more minutes than people realize because of the Quentin Grimes thing. I think people have adjusted to this Lakers stuff, but Quentin Grimes probably isn't going to be getting the attention that the Lakers guys are. Not getting as much Tyrese Maxey on DraftKings as I was on FanDuel, which is, makes me feel better about not having a late swap. Still getting some Colin Sexton, getting a little bit more Keontae George on DraftKings. Shooting guard, it's almost all the exact same guys I just mentioned. I'll add Jordan Clarkson and Donovan Mitchell. Getting a little more Donovan Mitchell on DraftKings and on FanDuel. Small forward, getting some more Jason Tatum than on FanDuel. But thought they didn't even change it, so it's still the main guy here. Getting some Josh Hart. I am getting a little more in terms of Pacers, getting a little more Aaron Neesmith on DraftKings. I think he's 900 cheaper on DraftKings, which is a pretty significant drop. And then still like Vince Williams as a tournament play as well. Power forward, it's a bunch of Tobias Harris. He's probably my play of the day. I think I put him in the expert survey as play of the day before the Lakers news. He still is my play of the day. Too cheap on both sites. Still like Precious Achiuwa, and also still like Santi Aldama. Center, and I'll add actually as a tournament play, I'll add Kristaps Porzingis. Again, the game could blow out, but he probably has a better matchup now that Anthony Davis isn't in there. And it might not blow out. We don't know. So like Kristaps Porzingis, getting a lot less Paul Reed, and getting more Christian Wood is just kind of unavoidable. Getting some Jaren Jackson as well. That also fits into the bucket of we don't know what's going to happen with the game. Jaren Jackson would be the most veteran guy. They're probably going to not play full minutes, but maybe it's just a close competitive game, and and he does well because a bunch of his teammates are missing. I think you can. This is maybe the first game where I'd say you can start to play a little bit of Isaiah Hartenstein, but still pretty risky because he hasn't been playing full minutes.
Gotcha. Is there anybody on? You mentioned the Lakers game might be a total blowout here. Is there anybody on that team, or maybe either team, that would get kind of some starter run, or maybe not starter run, but normal run, and then if it's a blowout, stay on the court and could maybe work their way from mid-20s to low 30s or mid-30s minutes?
On the Lakers?
Either team, either way in that game, yeah.
I think they were saying Jackson Hayes maybe fits into that category. I kind of like that as the pivot from the very popular Christian Wood. It's a little bit tough because so many guys are out that everybody's kind of underpriced. Right? I was writing up my article and saying bench guys you should keep an eye on, and I think Miles McBride probably fits into that category. But all of the starters are priced as if they're bench guys because they usually are bench guys. So it's tough to find somebody like that.
Okay, that's fair. We have 6-7 minutes here until lock, and we got plenty of questions coming in. Make sure you hit the little thumbs up there at the bottom of your screen while I roll through some of these, starting as always in the RG Discord and then jumping into the YouTube chat from there. We'll start on FanDuel. Taylor, I'll give this one to you. Harris versus Russell.
Harris for me.
Very good. Smoke and Jay, FanDuel, GPP, Squirrel. Actually, this is the most optimal top 2 or 3 scrub Lakers. So that's kind of where I was going.
Most optimal Lakers, I would say. Well, I like the non-scrub guys like Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell better than, significantly better than the scrub guys.
Yeah.
In terms of the scrub guys, it really depends what site. Christian Wood's really underpriced on DraftKings, not so much on FanDuel. Jackson Hayes is maybe an interesting pivot because he's the guy that's actually starting. I think Rui Hachimura is in play on both sites. And then maybe some Torian Prince as well.
Okay, great. Chad says, Taylor, would you X out Maxey in cash? That is a big risk to be taking. Is there enough juggling that can be done, or it's not worth it?
I don't think you need him in cash with Brunson on the slate and Russell and Reeves all at the same position on DK at least. Yeah, I don't think you have to have Maxey, though I do love him in tournaments.
Great. Okay. FanDuel single entry squirrel, Heald and Reed or Toby and Bamba. I think you like Toby and Bamba.
Yeah, I'd go with Tobias Harris and Bamba. Like Bamba is a real tournament play, but actually I think he's really interesting on FanDuel, especially with the extra point drops.
Nice. Okay. FanDuel cash question. Taylor, back to you. It's a 3v3. McBride, Tobias, and Vanderbilt or Pippen, Hart, and Precious.
That's tough. I feel like Hart and Tobias are both guys I want to get. What was the first one again?
It was McBride, Tobias, Vanderbilt versus Pippen, Hart, Precious.
Slight lean the first one. I think McBride can play enough to pay off for you.
Okay. Shout out to NBA DFS, by the way, who asked that question and often asks questions that kind of leave the host like, both of those are good. Like those are both good options there. So good. You are clearly like on the right path here. FanDuel single entry squirrel. Is it crazy going max 4 Knicks, going max 4 Knicks a bit much in FanDuel single entry?
Yeah, so I think what he's saying is playing the maximum 4.
Right on FanDuel.
That's absolutely fine on tonight's slate.
Okay, great. DK, he says money doesn't matter. I love that. Money doesn't matter, Taylor. More DFS points tonight. D. Mitch or Brunson?
I feel like it's Brunson. Yeah, again, both are great, but Brunson's the safer play, I think.
I feel like Brunson has kind of disappointed a little bit in these spots. Like, not that he is shit the bed, but I feel like there is a bigger game coming in one of these spots. I honestly feel like he could put up 60, 70 fantasy points. Is that insane? Am I a crazy person?
No, they're playing Indiana, so
right.
It's a good spot for it.
He's got the matchup, and I just think if the shot falls and he gets some more usage, tonight's the night. I agree. Tonight's the night. Brunson's going 60-plus fantasy points. Easy. Maybe 70-plus. We'll see. What else do we have? FanDuel large field tournament play. Mo Bamba and Jaylen Brown squirrel or Aldama and AR. Who's AR?
Reeves.
Oh, okay.
I would actually maybe go with the second one.
Okay. Aldama and Reeves. DKGPP, scroll right back to you. Are you fine locking Reeves and Rui in a 3 max?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. FanDuel GPP question. Bamba or Hayes? Squirrel, back to you again.
Bamba or Hayes for FanDuel?
Yes, FanDuel GPP, Bamba or Hayes?
I kind of like Bamba, and he's cheaper. So.
Okay, great. Jumping into the YouTube. DKGPP from Iran. Last piece. Reed, Hart, Oubre, or V. Williams? Squirrel, Reed, Hart, Oubre, or V. Williams in a DKGPP?
DK, Hart, Reed, Hart, Williams.
Oubre or Williams?
I'd go with Josh Hart. He's the guy.
Yeah, that's the move. He's got triple-double upside. What else do we got here? Mr. Irrelevant large field DK tournament. Taylor, I'm going to bring you in this just for fun. Wood and Mo Bamba or Max Christie and Paul Reed. He called him B-Ball Paul. He says, I don't have the extra $100 for McBride. So it's Wood and Bamba or Christie and Paul Reed.
I think Wood and Bamba. I just don't want to play Max Christie.
Okay, that's fair. Who's going to get more blowout run if it is to be a blowout? Hayes, Wood, Vanderbilt, or Rui? Taylor, who gets the blowout run? Hayes, Wood, Vanderbilt, or Rui?
I feel like Wood has been playing some blowout run. I guess that's where I'd go.
Yeah, I think so too. And he'll do well in the blowout run.
He will shoot.
Exactly. He will do what you want during that blowout run, without a doubt. FanDuel Cash, less than a minute until lock. Make sure you get your lineups in. FanDuel Cash, Taylor, Reed, Oubre, or Bamba Harris?
Reed Oubre.
Anthony says, Squirrel, do you think Naismith has another big game? You chasing it?
Not too much. More so on DraftKings than on FanDuel, but I think about 15% of it on DraftKings.
Okay, great. What else do we have here? FanDuel, Rui or Wood? I've already got Hayes. That's so at that point you don't want to go Wood, I assume. Is that wrong?
Yeah, I go with Rui. It's really hard to like parse through because unlike Tuesday, both LeBron and AD are out. But I would avoid Wood. And he's good.
Very good. Okay. What else do we have? CW says Pritchard is going to be the $100,000 winning DK lineup tonight. Squirrel, how much Pritchard do you have? Are you screwed?
I have 2.7%.
2.7%. You have a 2.7% chance of winning it all, according to CW here. Hoosiers Hang Banners pointing out Jokic at minus 140 right now to win MVP. All the focus was on Embiid, but there's a new game limit, right? He's got to play 65 games or something.
Yeah, and he's going to miss that now for sure. So.
Yep.
I think he was going to miss it anyway. Like that line has probably been appropriate.
That's true.
Yeah, that's possible. But I mean, who the hell else is going to win? I guess
Aaron
the
Nesmith?
odds are 140. So who?
Aaron Nesmith after the other night taking a charge.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have hit the lock. Dean wants to give a shout out to Kirkwood and TJ from Saskatoon, as well as to producer Steve. Those are good people to shout out. So we're going to get on out of here for Taylor. Actually, Taylor, hey, what year did you graduate high school? And do you know Emily Roth? No, Emily Black was her name back then. Emily Black. And what year did you graduate high school?
Not ring a bell, honestly. 2005.
2005. Okay. I feel like y'all were in the same grade. This is insane.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. I do not recognize that name.
I got to check. Anyways, all right. We're going to bounce on out of here. So for TJ, for Squirrel, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love it. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.